Hello, Facebook family. We are
Okay,
on
live.
day 9 of Healing Trauma series.
They're
There
streaming
we go.
Moving.
I know this is the last day of our 3-part series on trauma. So the first weekend we talked about understanding trauma. And the second weekend we talked about tips and tools on how to start healing trauma. And this weekend it's all about how trauma really affects you physically, mentally, and emotionally, and what are things that you can do about that. And so I really like how we broke this down, and everyone has been giving me feedback how they really enjoyed how I broke it down in a way where it was not too much, just enough, and how it was different messages in each one. So thank you for the feedback, and thank you for letting me know that this really helped. I'm glad. That's my whole purpose, to make sure to present courses for everyone that will initiate and start that process for you, whether it be healing your trauma, whether it be tuning in more and being more aware of yourself and what's going on within you. And last and all, and not let's not forget, it's also about learning that self-love, learning to love yourself. And that's the most important thing of all these courses, is just, being within yourself and loving yourself, forgiving yourself, loving yourself, and just being aware. So with that, I want to the schedule. So we're just going to do a quick welcome and then a meditation where we're doing a body scan. And then I'll be introducing our guest speaker. She will be speaking from 8:15 to 8:45. And then from there at 8:45, we'll do a quick little conclusion and transition from Facebook Live to the private Zoom session, where you will be able to ask questions to our guest speaker, get some tips and tools. And then definitely do not forget to join us for February, because that one is linked to our second series of trauma, where it was a tip on finding self-love. So in February weekend of the 12th, 13, and 14, which is Valentine weekend, it's process and mastering self-love. And so make sure to join us for February. That will be fun too. And with that, let's do a quick meditation. Wherever you're sitting, make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Relax your shoulders and your arms. Relax your whole body. And I want you to take 3 deep belly breaths. Now, I want you to just take some mental notes as you're sitting there. We're going to start a body scan. We're going to start at the bottom of our feet, right at the toes. You could kind of wiggle them, kind of get a feeling. Make some mental notes. Is there anything achy, bothering you, stiffness? Or is there a message or a vision that you're receiving as you're focusing on that part of your body? And as you move from your toes, you go to your ankles. You could slightly kind of move them side to side just to get a feeling. Take those mental notes. And from your ankles, scan up to the knee. And from the knees, scan up to your hip. And as you are in your hip area, just kind of explore that area for a minute. Take some mental notes. How do your legs feel? How does your hip feel? Any achiness, any stiffness, any visions, messages. Now from our hip, go to your tailbone. And just imagine yourself at the tailbone. Start climbing up the sacrum to that first big lumbar vertebrae of our spine, and slowly just climb up your spine one by one. Get a feeling of your back. Is there anything achy? Is there any stiffness? Is there any pain? Make a mental note. Any visions or messages. And as you get to the base of your neck, you're going to go out to the collarbones, to your shoulders. And then just stop and take a few seconds to take any mental notes about how your back felt from your hip up to the base of your neck. Now that we are at the shoulders, we're going to go down to our elbows. From our elbows down to our wrists. From our wrists down to our fingertips. And if you want, you could slightly move your fingers, get a sensation, any stiffness, any achiness. And as you take mental notes now, slowly go back up the wrist, up the elbow, up to the shoulders, through the collarbone, now at the base of the neck again. We are at that 1C7 vertebrae, and now we're going to slowly climb up our neck vertebrae, which there's 7 of them. And as you get to the base of the skull, just kind of feel that base of the skull go out to your jawline, to the tip of your chin. If you want, you could open and close your jaw a little bit. See if there's any stiffness or tightness or achiness at your jaw, or what we call the TMJ, any popping. And then focus on your skull. And if you want to, you could go ahead and raise your hands and just kind of caress your skull. Just kind of feel it. And I'm going to add a little tip to the skull. So in our skull, we have what we call sutures. If you could see, visualize your skull, you'll see that these little squiggly lines where your skull as a baby fused in. And if you can, imagine where the sutures are and just kind of massage them. It's really a beneficial and healthy thing to do on massaging. So you have one that goes at the top of your skull. And then there's the one from the ear that kind of goes around like a headband, if you had a headband on. So if you just kind of massage those sutures, they're very, very beneficial. My holistic doctor taught me to do this. She said there's so many benefits in just massaging the sutures of your skull. It really helps your brain. Remember, your brain is the central compartment that sends all those signals and messages throughout our body. Oh, now I need to move this hand, and now she wants to move her left hand, and they're zapping and doing all this work up there, so massaging the skull will really help that function of the brain, to keep it flowing, that energy flowing. And now take some 3 deep breaths as we get out of our meditation. And again, like I said, take some mental notes of what you felt. And if you missed last night, our healing session, the recording is on the Facebook page. I did the body scan with the bowls, and then I did a post assessment on myself. So kind of giving you an idea on how to do it yourself, how to make that assessment like, oh, there's some tightness. Oh, and then what I did with the bowls. And then afterwards, I kind of rechecked myself and noticed that whatever tightness I had in my right hip or my right shoulder was much looser and better. So just learning to do that pre and post assessment on yourself is very beneficial because it makes you more aware of your body. What's tight? Oh, I felt a difference. That works. You know, making sure that you're aware of what works and doesn't work for you. So for me, doing the bowls, it worked. Okay, that's something that if I ever feel that achiness again, I could do that. So really tune into the body. And with that, I'm gonna oh, my name is Rebecca and my husband,
JB Atkins. We
we
are
are
holistic wellness consultants,
yeah,
also known as the Muscle Whisperer.
I know, but you keep forgetting to say we are dual dragons. I noticed that yesterday. We are referred as the dual dragons. And so you could reach us at jbr@dualdragons.com or visit our site, dualdragons.com. And there's our number. You could text to that number or call that number. That's our business line. And now let me introduce our guest speaker, Debbie McKee. She is the owner of the Mermaid Cottage. It's a seaside sanctuary. She does crystal energy. She's a healer and crystal energy, also a teacher and holistic wellness. And again, if something resonates and you would like to contact her, she is located in California, and you can message her through her Gmail or her number. It's located there. I'll bring it back up towards the end of our talk. And so that way, if you want to get that information, it'll be coming back up. But I'm going to stop sharing screen now. So then that way we could pay attention to Debbie and her presentation.
Hi there. Good morning. Thanks for coming in so early. So yes, interesting topic, trauma. I mean, we've all got it, right? We've all gone through it. That's why we come to Earth and choose it again and again. And sometimes we think, why am I going through this again? So that is our journey of figuring that out. But there are a lot of different spiritual ways you can work on that. There's a lot of physical ways you can work on that. And then I'll give some crystal tips because I think that's why I first went to crystals, was like a divorce and, why did this happen, or, whatever I was going through. And different crystals, you grab different ones, you hang on to them, you sleep with them, you work with them, and then all of a sudden you set it down and you're like, I think I'm done with that one. And I don't know why I'm not in love with that one anymore. And then you pick up a new one. It's because you're progressing and growing and letting things go. There's different rocks for grounding. There's different rocks for developing your spirituality to go bigger and bigger, like so many of us are doing right now during our whole little lockdown deal. But it's like giving everybody this chance to really grow. And growing, the word ascension, but that you start going, you get faster, your velocity gets faster, so your aura gets bigger and faster. And slower people are like, they're really slow. And it's like, in different crystals help you develop that. So grounding, ascension, and then spiritual development. So I have my favorites. I'm traveling right now, so when I signed into this and made my notes last night, I'm like, I don't have enough crystals. Yeah, right. I always travel with so many rocks for all these kind of reasons, because whenever I travel, I like to try to ascend to another level. And like, I drove over a state line, so I'm like, I'm going to leave behind in California state line and anything that I no longer need. And I was saying all these little things, and it felt so good to be driving away from those problems, you know. And they're not really problems. They're just, you know, the stuff that rants in your head. I'm heading towards my 6th decade now on this planet. So I've been through a lot of things that I'm sure all of you have. And I'll share some of the big stuff that has probably made the biggest dent on me. That has it's my story, though. It's definitely my biggest growing point. Like, as traumatic and horrible as it can be, you learn so much more because of it. And then you jump in as a human here and grow even quicker. So it's, you know, the trauma that I went through as a kid definitely formed who I am now. And I still get little triggers, of course, you know, like I was really moody last night and the night before. And we had a full moon, and then we're in retrograde. So I was like, why am I so moody? What's triggering me, you know? And it was just feeling, you feel dominated or feel trapped, or I think those are some of my leftover things from when I was a kid. I'll just start in. When I was a kid, I was beat really bad from my mom, and not from my dad, but from my mom. And it never stopped until I could catch her hands and stop her midair till I was strong enough. So that was a big part of me, is learning to get physically strong to stop the action, and then to get mentally, emotionally strong enough to move out. So I moved out really young, and I was working full time already, and I'm like, I can do this somewhere else, you know. And it was just my trail of life that helped me get stronger. But it was definitely physically, spiritually, emotionally. I also come from a long line of ministers, and I've also found out it goes back 5, 6, 7, and 8 generations of shamans, Cherokee. You know, me and my blondness, but we were Cherokee, French, and Irish. So I'm that classic blend of that era. But once I found that out past the minister stuff, because there was a lot of dysfunction in the minister stuff. You must do this to get into heaven. You must say these 3 sentences to get heaven. If your friends are Presbyterian or Lutheran or whatever, they're not going to heaven. And it was so bigoted, you know, let alone the skin tone, you know, but it was so bigoted spiritually. That was the hardest part for me. That only took me up right now. But that's still my quest, to keep learning and keep growing and keep developing and keep ascending and go faster and release those things that are dragging you down, that are keeping you slow, you know. So the crystals help me a lot in that. Like ascension crystals, we all have like our favorite quartzes, and you're not always sure why you have your favorite quartzes. But this is like the one I take traveling. It's just a old Lemurian, but it has some really big record keepers on it, the triangle shapes, and they really help you, you know, open up quicker, and all from here. But like even when you were doing your meditation, Rebecca, these guys have worked on me too. We've traded, but I get stuff stuck on my neck, the back of my neck, and on my right foot right now. So I feel like your right foot is where you're going next. Where am I going next? And then my neck is like, I work so much up here, my body has to catch up. And so I get a lot of it gets stuck in the back of my neck. Plus I used to jump a lot of things on bikes, snowboards and stuff. But these different quartzers are pretty much the favorite, and you guys can always contact me, and I can tell you about that stuff too. I'll talk about it forever. But so I have my favorite quartzes I always travel with. This is one I wear all the time. It's just another Lemurian, and then I have a fairy cross on it, because that I'm very outdoorsy person, and I process a lot outside. A long walk, a long hike by the water, in the trees. So that's why I'm up here in Oregon, because it's all trees and water. But then if you wear some of these stones or have them in your backpack, or us girls, we put them in our bras, it really helps you process it slowly. It doesn't have to be just in meditation. You can just, you acclimate it all the time. I feel like I'm in spirit all the time, and I have to watch it. You know, I'm sure you guys do. Sometimes you have to watch it. when you start bumping into things in your house, it means you're not grounded enough, and you need to, make sure your feet are connected to spirit. So some of the trauma that I went through, besides my mom being so dominating, and but it was also, besides the physical, it was very, very verbal. You're not good enough for this, you're not good enough for that, you're not acting like that around those people. It was just all these gnarly words, just continually, boom, 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 boom. Oh, your hair looks so bad, you're not eating right. It was just, and it was that way till her absolute last sentence. She passed away 4 years ago, and she's literally unconscious for 3 days. And a nurse comes in and they're like, Debbie, no, they talk to my mom. They go, your daughter's here, Debbie. And she goes, she better be. And that was like her last words to me. It was like insane. Oh, and here my heart is just pouring out, trying to talk to her. And it's okay, Mom, you can release. And but it made me laugh though. It was like, okay. But you have to find out, like, if you have an aggressor like that, that's kind of tormented you your whole life. Like, the big thing to help me with her was what was she taught? Where did she begin? I don't think my mom really knew how to love. I don't think anyone really taught her that. She never received that. She didn't, there's so much of that she didn't know. That I remember one thing I said was, like, she was criticizing so hard on my daughter and I finally was brave enough after 50 years to say, Mom, why do you say those things if we're the only people you have and the only people who love you? And she just instantly goes, well, what has love got to do with it? Like, there was no correlation in her heart. So I was just bing, these big bells went off in my head. It's like, wow, that's all she's got. So why am I continually expecting something different? And I know that's kind of a classic mom-daughter thing, but she was really, really aggressive for so long. And then as you grow up and you go over the years, you tend to gather other people that are just like them, right? And whether it's a husband or a boss, I've been through some boss. I'm an independent person. I was a designer for a long time, so I did a lot of crazy, intense jobs, and I always had these really scary bosses. And then I finally started not doing that, but these things, different things develop your strengths. So I became very independent, and the more independent I became, the braver I became, and then the more confident I became, and then I wasn't so frightened of things. I remember at one point when I was like 20, and I was finishing up college, and I had filed in my brain, I was afraid of 3 things: large horses, large dogs, and men who yell. It was like, those are my words. I don't know why, but I mean, I know partially, but I totally got over the animal thing until we had a pit bull attack me and my chihuahua. And then I still don't like pit bulls. But I got over the horsey thing, and I can read horses now. And big men don't scare me anymore. Usually big men are actually really kind, especially the more over 6 foot they get nicer and nicer, and nothing threatens them. So, but still yelling, I'm not good with yelling. And I've learned to detach from, why are they really mad? They're not really mad at you. Why are they really mad? And that sort of thing. So I've gone through a progression of those things, and then where those things, and that was before my crystal journey, but my spiritual journey really started when I moved out when I was 16. And by the time I was 20, I was trying all these different sports, and rock climbing was probably my favorite. It gave me such confidence. It was these simple moves, and you're on your complete own on the rock, even though you've got somebody attached to the rope behind you. These guys were like Navy SEALs, so they're really intense men, right? But they just would say, trust your equipment, so, and you just had to, and use your instincts and trust your equipment. So it really opened me up spiritually to really trust yourself and not blame everything on your, where you started. And then we'd have these talks at a fireside with all these different people, all different ages, all colors, all different walks of life. And we were starting to talk about these spiritual concepts, and we all connected. And I was just blown away. Once you start having these conversations with people of whether the things they went through or the spiritual things, the way they were raised, and how it just doesn't sit right in your gut anymore. And then as far as physical stuff goes and emotional stuff and emotional trauma, you can look at it astrologically and your sign. We have different body parts that we hold our shit in, you know, and I'm a Cancer. And so it's stomach, stomach, stomach. So I actually had really radical ulcers for a long, long time. And I'm still like a real puss when it comes to food. But that led me on my whole journey of nutrition and, you know, dirty food, clean food. Now look at us. We talk the way we talk about food. But when I first started talking about food and food not being safe or good for you and stuff, everyone's like, oh, you're crazy, you know, and now here we are. We all know about stuff. But those first stomach stuff led me to, you know, looking things up that were good energetically, like black tourmaline. A lot of you probably have black tourmaline. I always have really big ones. I like really big ones that'll fill up your whole hand. And sometimes it's hard to find the big ones. I have always had really big ones. I have miners that dig them up and bring them to me, so I can give them to you at a good price and stuff. But this is still my favorite, most emotional, grounding belly rock. It's also the number one job is healing a wounded heart. So I will always say that of black tourmaline because that's definitely its job. My very first crystal, I don't have it with me, but it was this tiny, I felt like I was being this heathen going into a crystal store, and I had got this tiny little black tourmaline pendant, and I put it on and it just started clicking on me and working on me. I just left California and moved to Colorado, and that thing just started slowly buzzing on me and calming me down. And it's not just you, you know, crystals have tiny little voices if you can hear them, you know. And so that black tourmaline started turning dark green as it started clearing some things out of it. And so it's like sheer green now, but it was jet black when I first got it. Some crystals can change color with you as you progress and as you go on, and some shatter. So don't be shocked when they shatter or crack and fall. Or I remember this first one, that when it's the second crystal I bought, it was this skinny little quartz and it had this little dragon on it. You guys would like had this little dragon on it. And I would take it off at night and hang on this little hook at night. And I was in bed and saw it. It just went, fell down 2 places. But I'd just gone through a big thing with the boss and a job, and I was, you know, it was drama. And so sometimes when you have a big emotional drama, your crystals can snap. And it's always really heartbreaking, but it's good to take the 2 halves and I like to bury them in like a bowl for 30 days, or I say for a moon cycle, and helps ground off that emotional drama off of it. And then once you heal from that, you can give that broken half onto someone else who comes to you, because that's the thing about our dramas is you'll attract others who are going through it too. And someone will come to you, some same situation, and you're like, here, try this might help you. And you give them that, and then you feel better about the broken crystal, and then you're helping heal someone else. And so as I think about our big traumas that we go through, they can help. They're definitely become your story, and they're your healing story, so you can share it, and that opens you up. I feel like most healers have become healers because of a big drama at the beginning. Now there's some other traumatic things can happen, like you've had a big accident, or even if you've had like a string of falls, like you fall, then every time you do, you kind of jimmy your brain and your skull, and it can open up your psychic abilities bigger. And it's shimmying your thymus and your pineal gland, and it's just like it opens you up. You can ask just about any psychic or any healer, did you have any big accidents? And we've all had them. And so I had a string of them when I was little, because I was pretty much what you call a tomboy, and I was always in a tree or running with the boys or ice skating or doing something, and I would fall. I was never very good at my sports, but I enjoyed it. But so I've had a string of those, and each time I'm like, bing. So I had some big ones. I cracked my front tooth and jammed my skull into the ground skateboarding, and I cracked open the back of my skull about this big, swinging in a tree, because kids used to swing in trees. You don't see kids swinging in trees anymore, but I did that. And in my hand when I was 3, which is my healer, my stronger, more sensitive healer hand. I call it my healer hand. I mean, they're both this, but this one's even stronger. I was running in a field with kids, the boys, running with the boys in my cowboy boots. And we were running back and forth. This tractor was plowing the field and we were running back and forth. And I tripped and fell on this big broken bottle. And I almost lost my hand and they operated on it. And I was like 3, but I remember it so clearly. And I remember leaving my body and coming back in, and I felt angels around us because that's when my dad was a pastor. And so I would see angels very clearly all the time. And they were like all around me. And I heard the whole conversation of leaving and not. And so that was probably my biggest one. And I was 3. It was kind of crazy. But as far as, and then just over the years, this hand has healed more and more and more. And the fingers work better and better. And, but it's definitely the hot hand, like what we call hot hands. At least that's what we call them in my family. Like you have your hands are hot when you heal people, and your hands get really, really hot. Or if you make a crystal really hot really quickly, it means you really got a lot of chi and you know it can come out your hands. So even though you do it all up in here in your head and your heart, it still comes out your hands when you're working on people. Now let's talk about the heart for a minute. There's definitely a lot of heart crystals. So, I mean, we could talk about some of these during your next thing that you do, because it's heart centered, and we've got good old torturous Valentine's coming on. But there's some major crystals, like the crystals in strength go from the lightest to the most intense color. So like rose quartz is the beginning heart one. It's sweet and gentle. It works on you like if you've just gone through a divorce, that's about all you can handle is a tiny little rose quartz, you know. This is one of my favorite ones I've worn for years and years and years. It's a sheer rose quartz dolphin. But even to this day, like when I was getting all moody last night, I had to put this on. I'm like, all right, everything's okay. Or on my drive up here, we had really radical weather and I was driving in ice, sliding shit. It was scary. I was hanging on my dolphin. And then you can move up the scale with your quartzes, with your rose quartz or other quartz, but the Lemurians that have the pink tinge, those will work on your heart also to opening. But even to this day, you know, I'm rounding 60 here and I'm still peeling off layers of my heart to open up and to feel safe and to feel grounded, to go forward, because that's pretty much what trauma does to you. It gives you fear. So you keep trying to open up those layers so you be brave and go forward. So these different pink crystals constantly will work on you, like that black tourmaline turning green. So green tourmaline is a really good healer, probably one of the best to heal your heart, to open up again. And then there's watermelon tourmaline, handily enough. The heart chakra is pink and green, not just green. So watermelon tourmaline, which is pink and green. I don't have any with me today, but they'll grow together. It'll be like green on the inside and then a pink layer around the outside, and you can buy a slice of it. And it's just where that tiny little slice. I have teeny tiny ones and they are so strong and they just heal you and heal you and heal you. So to be a healer or a psychic or just to feel good about life, they really help heal you and heal you. I have these little, I call them my little bra pouches. They're kind of velvety, and you can put one of those tiny little tourmalines in there, put them in there. You boys, I don't know where you're gonna put your rocks, but you'll put them somewhere. And then another pink, you can go up the ranks of the pink crystals will be, rhodochrosite is super, super pink, like bubblegum pink. And I don't recommend that for heart opening, but it can help you heal and open up in other areas, like in your sacral area, if you've had trauma there, you know, which a lot of people have. And I'd say a good 80% of the people who have come to me, they've had some sexual abuse of some sort. And that is the hardest to heal from, I think, as far as trauma goes. And unless you've lost a child, and that's really huge too. But sexual trauma is a whole nother type of, like each chakra has got layers and layers of crystals that you work your way through and grow through. And then two of my favorites now that I work through spiritually, now that I've gotten braver, is morganite, which just looks like a rose quartz, but you have to know where you get it from and the shape. And you can kind of see the shape here, it's 6-sided, but it's really a pink emerald. And it is like one of the highest vibration pink rocks there is. So you work your way up to that, but they really make you feel holy. And the information that comes in with your guides and your angels really helps soothe you to take that information and trust it, you know? Another one of my absolute favorites that I always travel with, this is a kunzite. This is a really big kunzite. You can see the purpley color there. This is a really big one, but I used to sell these when you get batches of them come out of the planet like once every 20 years or 50 years. So I can get some of these bigger ones. There's a bunch of them kind of coming out of Afghanistan right now, but their energy is so bad. So they got to be really, really cleared for a while and buried for a while to get them juicy and put them in the ocean and clear them out like that. But this will really help give you bravery and your spirituality and your strength and to trust the world again and to go out and do things and be able to talk about some traumas you've been through or things you're growing through, or even say those words to that relative that are freaking you out every time you see them, you know, and you can carry it and you do your meditation, do your walk, hike with them, swim with them. Crystals love to be swum with, by the way. They love it. They love that saltwater clearing. And even if you're just bobbing in the water, it really helps. Not a pool, not even a saltwater pool. That's still chemicals, but the ocean. So if you can get to the ocean anywhere, even if it's just your feet, you put your little rock in the sand there and you're with your feet. Like the water up here is like 44 degrees, 42, 46, which seems insane. But when you want to get in the water, you do it. Let's see what else. Oh, I didn't talk about the grounding ones. What time are we at? 8:37. Okay, grounding stones. So some of my basic grounding rocks, they can be obscure. Like I have these, I showed you the black tourmaline, and this is a type of ancient whale ear. So that this is part of why I like to come up here. There's all these really cool stuff in the water that you can pick up. And this is a weird whale ear. And I'm not even sure if it is or not, but from what I've researched, it is. And my hand tells me that's exactly what it is. But it fits in, if you find some odd stone that fits your hand perfectly. I have really tiny hands. So for this to fit in my hand, just enough to poke out, and it's really good to meditate with, you know? So you have to find your rocks that fit your hands, the grounding ones in particular, that really feel good in your hands. And this is another one, everyone calls these my cat poop rocks because they look like cat poop, but they're not. This is a hematite from an underwater volcano in New Zealand. And I have a few of these. These are really grounding. They're almost all iron. This, I don't even know what's in this, but it's a part of a fossilized creature, and then it's petrified. So fossils can be really good for grounding. And I like to recommend when you're freaking out about your age, fossils are great because you're like, wow, at least I'm not as old as that. You know, and it can ground you in out of your nervous mind and ground you down. These hematites are really good. Just about any kind of hematite's good. But if you can find an organic one that isn't all polished, I feel like it's stronger and grounds you even more because you can feel its little rough stuff. So this one fits my hand perfectly. And then a new one that I've been really, really into is jade. So there's a bunch of new jades that are showing up. The Chinese jade to me is it's more about beauty and it's sheer, and it doesn't seem to be as grounding. But these new ones that we're getting in like Greenland, you know, global warming, hey, we're getting some more rocks. And these are really, I've been grounding with these really, right there, they go on my boobs. So there's something about, like I started wearing, I gave these out during Chinese New Year last year. So I have a bunch of these. A jade bracelet can be strangely grounding, and I'm not sure really what the element in it that does that. Or maybe it's just a tree thing for me and it's green, but it's very like, if you know, when you have a grounding stone, you get it in your hand and you feel it goes kind of behind your eyes, like you get this clarity behind your eyes and you're like, okay, I'm all right. You know? And then let's see, probably the biggest grounding rock, if you're a fire sign or an air sign, and those like the black tourmaline isn't doing it for you or the hematite isn't doing for you, go for a smoky quartz, because that's quartz and iron. And the more iron is in it, the darker it'll be. And then you're just feeling that iron. So, you know, and there's something about the quartz and the iron, it hits you if you have a lot of air in your chart, and it's got to calm your mind, so you want to calm your mind, not just like the tourmaline calms your heart. This is a trippy stone. This is what you call an celestial. Looks like a little rocket. And this is naturally double terminated, so it's 2 points. And these are really good for ascension. But they're also, because they're a young stone and they grow like these, how it's got a little shape over here and a shape here. That's how they grow. They grow in a volcanic blast, and they grow really quickly. So they help you ascend really quickly. So they can help you get through your shit, so to speak, and help you shed it and shed it again and shed it again, so that you're brave and open up. So I just acquired this one last week, and I'm just loving it. But again, it's exactly my palm size. So it feels really good. Another grounding stone for trauma that's simple are jaspers. Now I don't know how many jaspers there are, but there could be like 100 different jaspers. But they're the opaque ones you can find on the beach very easily, or even on a hike. This is from up here, so the waves here are massive, and so they really pound their stones, so they're so soft, just like as if they've been tumbled. But this is a strangely settling rock for me. But every time you ascend, you need to ground too, so that you don't get too nutty and too dizzy and get too much up in spirit, that's all you're talking to, because we are, like I like to say, walking on the planet, and you need to ground at the same time. So when I get really wild information from my guides, like JB was talking about earlier, getting some really wild information, you're like, who is that? Who's talking to me? If you have a good grounding stone in your hand also, you can see a little clarity on that. So you can have your ascending stone and your grounding stone at the same time. But it helps, like, going through any kind of a traumatic growth, because that's all that trauma is growth for you. So to have it's all in our mind, right? It's all in our mind, and you can shift it, and you're in control of it. But if you get your spirituality in there too, and you get your spirit guides there, and you feel solid with God in your body, and I like to say, get your Christ consciousness on right here, so you feel really aligned with the planet, your spirit, your body, and the higher beings, even above your spirit guides and your angels. Then you can really process, just about anything. Let's see. Oh, forgiveness. You've got that word forgiveness on there. Gosh, I've been doing a lot of that lately. I know about you guys during this lockdown and all of our crazy political upheaval and competition and mask or no mask, vax or no vax. I mean, it's so aggressive with us that it's sorting a lot of our friends out too, or your mates, and I can't be with them because they're like that. So I've been working on that forgiveness thing huge the past 6 months, and it's exhausting. Forgiveness is exhausting. I mean, the big stuff I went through with my mom, that was really big, or getting married and divorced. That's really big. But I think sometimes losing a friend can be even harder, because you really chose them to be in your world every week, so forgiveness is a big one. Is there a forgiveness crystal? I don't know. I think it's still the combination of your heart and your head and your body all at the same time. I didn't talk about this with my Larimar, which I share a lot, but I would say this is one of my forgiveness crystals, because it's blue, so it's your truth and what you're really feeling, and you can change, every few years you're like, God, I used to say that, but I sure don't believe that now. So you've grown, don't feel bad that you were thinking like that, but you've grown. So I think that's a big part of this lockdown, is helping us grow, forgive ourselves, go through some horrible things, and then come out again and feel. But this stone is very much connected to Atlantis and Lemuria. If you guys have any of those connections, which a lot of us do, I feel like if you are here during this time, it's a very Atlantean time, right? Big power, big money, lower beings doing everything else that's making everything work, that whole slave and king mentality. It's very much what we're going through. It. So stones that help you with your Atlantis life, if you've been there, if you're getting really pissed off about some of these things, it's just as my voice goes gurgly. And this, I think Larimar is really good for that. Really helps you, like whether you remember or not, because there's parts of it I don't remember either, but the emotional part, I'm a feeler first and then a seer, or I'm a feeler, a knower, and then a seer, and then here. So I feel the uncomfortableness first and I'll snap at somebody because I'm like feeling uncomfortable about something. So I have to like, okay, what am I really feeling? So these stones can help you shed those those emotional moments, whether you believe in the rocks or not. You can try a tiny bead. I mean, I always have beads too, and I could give out beads. Just try this little bead. And it's funny how it just, that little thing in your auric field can help you just kind of calm down about something, even if it just helps you process something that day. We're complex creatures as humans. We are the most complex creatures on this planet. There's some animals that are pretty complex too. There's really big ones out there in the water. There's big horses. I don't know if you've ever put your hands on a horse. If you're an energy healer, it's like, they just move everything so fast because they have all that muscle and all that, all those veins and a big, huge heart, big, huge head. So I don't know. We're complex, so don't be so hard on yourself. I want to say that about why you're still mad about something that happened, 45 years ago, or whatever. It's all a process. We're all learning. So did this change because we're at the end of my time? 8:45. Yep. Okay. All right. So that's all for now. But you can always contact me later if you have questions. I'll tell you more.
Yes, definitely. And we'll talk some more in our private Zoom for sure, because I have to share some stories of the crystals that you recommended for me. And I have to show you the results of some of them. It's interesting what's happened so far. But yes, again, here is Debbie's information. You could reach out to her and she could, guide you on, your crystals. You do distance also, right, Debbie? Because I know a lot of our viewers are from Arizona, so
Yeah, I do distance. Absolutely.
perfect. So it doesn't matter if you're in another state, you could always reach out to Debbie. And then let me so again, just a recap, we've been learning about becoming aware and using that awareness to be able to break down whatever it is that we're experiencing or having to face, which we don't want to, but it's an awareness. And then interviewing it. When you interview it, ask it questions like, like what Debbie was saying, why am I feeling moody? Why is this happening? It's like, and then you kind of just sit and think about it. Then you get a breakthrough, and she got a breakthrough like, oh, let me use this stone. Let me do this. We have our own tools and equipment within our body to help us to get those breakthroughs. So we have exterior tools to help us manage and flow easier, but within ourselves, we have our primary tools. And then like with forgiveness leads to an awakening, shedding off another layer, being able to be more braver, move more. Now you're awakened, you see things differently. So now you can move easier and flow easier. So forgiveness, especially for yourself again. And last is integration, finding that self-love for yourself, integrating everything you've learned and experienced and use that and finding your self-love, finding yourself. What's my purpose? What do I love to do? Finding that joy in life is what it is. And again, so I brought this slide up because I want to remind everyone, if you haven't joined in the 22-day challenge, Joanna does 11 exercises that are repeated. So even if you've missed some of the exercises, we will be repeating those exercises. So join in. Her page is I Am Love, and you can see all the previous exercises there, because in the Valentine's weekend, we will be joining in on process of mastering love. So make sure, if you don't have the book, Joanna did text me that the books are coming for those who got books on that day. They are coming, so they're on their way. She had to order them. And so just wanted to kind of bring that up again for February. And again, if there's anything you guys are going through, this is also on our Facebook page, also on the events page. I will make sure to put that on the meetup page again. If there's anything you guys are going through at the moment and you guys need help, you could reach out to your community. You could reach out to these hotlines. It doesn't matter where you're from. They will find any kind of help you need ASAP in your community. So always have these numbers handy just in case. Remember, you are important. And so that's the main thing. You are important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop share because I do want to, because I want to have this on the Facebook Live. Because I want to share, you know, Debbie, we did a trade and I wanted to share something because she recommended some stones for me. And first she gave us a gift of the dragon stone. And this dragon stone, I'm going to light it up too, so that way you guys could see it better. Gonna shine some light on it just so you guys could see it.
Yeah, it's hard to shine a light on it.
I know,
You can go sideways. There you go. There you got it.
yeah. So this one, when she handed it to us, was a very dark olive green.
Breakup in it. Yeah.
And
Breakup, right?
what's interesting, it's changed. The minute I touched it, remember, Debbie?
Yep.
I showed it to you and I'm like, oh, wow, it's changing color.
Did it kind of jump into your hand?
Yeah. I'm like, this is the one for me. Oh, that's too much. There we go.
There you
Found
go.
the angle. So I just wanted to show you guys how this crystal, it was a gift from her and how it's changed so much. Look at all that white part right there. That's
Yes,
something
it's
new.
mostly serpentine, but it's a sensitive stone. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's absolutely for you. Like you never really know what stone's for you until you pick it up, you know. But that one was like yelling at me from across the road, give them the dragon stone.
Yes. And then when you did the session on me, you recommended a tourmaline, a green one, and a pink one.
Yeah.
So this is unique because this tiny one,
Someone's dinging.
yeah, it was me. Let me answer real quick. This is my sister. It's my mom's birthday today and I left it. I left her present.
And just sharing from my experience, because I was there as well, as just getting a couple crystals and how it helped me in my, I guess, my journey of healing trauma, really allowed me to unlock things. Like we talked about throughout this whole series about developing your tribe, discovering your tools to really help you process whether it's mental, emotional, physical. And this crystals happen to be one of the tools / members because they're practically alive, hence why they hold their own vibration. Not saying alive like us humans, but they're a form of living entity where they hold a space of a certain vibration. As you may recognize, as you go through traumas, you may be stuck in a certain vibration and you can't get yourself up. Like you fell down, but you can't get up, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Go
Develop-
side.
Okay.
There you got it.
Got it.
So this used to be a light green.
Oh, it's again darker?
It's getting darker. That's what I wanted to show you, Debbie,
Ah.
how dark it's turned because I'm shining a light on it and see how dark it is?
Can you go sideways through it? There, yeah, there you got it, right there. Yeah, nice. It's getting rich. It'll get richer colored. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, this one was a light green and it's just getting so, because I've been wearing it, you know, you had told me to have these with me.
And those are tiny. They're really small,
They're
but
tiny.
they're effective though.
This is the pink one. The pink one is just kind of like, it's building almost like inside of it. If you guys could really see inside of it, it's
Are
almost
there
like,
little inclusions inside it now? Like
yeah,
little bubbles? Yeah. It's like you open them up, like emotionally.
And then,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and then the rose quartz that you had mentioned. No, the smoky quartz, I'm sorry.
Smoky quartz. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that one has been changing a bit too on my,
Oh,
I
okay.
do a lot of work. We do, JB and I do a lot of body work on clients. So I carry these with me. Sorry about that, my sister. I carry these. So I carry for my chakra stone. So this one's for grounding. This is my grounding one. For root chakra, for the, I have to always check my camera. For my orange chakra,
Your sacral.
yeah, sacral. Solar plexus, the yellow one. I have my little yellow heart.
Mhm.
And then I have my green, emerald green for the heart chakra. I like this one because it has like the details, but has like a little bit of gold
Oh,
on
that's
it.
adventuring. That's adventuring.
And
They
then
have sparkle
I have my throat chakra stones.
in it.
And
Blue.
there's the gentle blue ones because that's how I am. I'm very
Blue. Oh, yeah.
gentle.
You're a gentle blue. Absolutely.
And then my third eye. Let me see if I can. There
Oh,
we
it's
go.
there you go. Chevron amethyst. That's you. That's your sorting out spirituality for everybody.
Yeah. And
job.
then for my crown chakra.
Is that just a quartz? I don't remember. Or is
Yeah,
it an
the quartz.
it looks a little cloudy.
And then I know it's they're starting to change. Every time I do work on people, they kind of change a bit. They either collect things that they're making sure that I don't attach to. And then I always have this one.
Oh
This
yeah,
is my,
that
this is
was
the one I use for grounding. I wanted to shine the light on it.
you could put them out on the moon, like the moon is still pretty full. Put it out in the moon tonight, and even during the day, and it'll help clear them off and give them a little more juju.
So this is what it's, because I always like to shine light on it so you guys could see what's on it.
Awesome, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and this one I got actually in Mexico when we went to Mexico. It was really nice to be able to visit the Tonalá, which is a very healing place. And so, but I wanted to share that on the live just so that way people could see how we use crystals also. I don't use them on my clients, but I use them for myself as a form of protection. So they're really handy if you just want something for yourself.
Yeah, they help give you like almost like a barrier
Mhm,
between, so you don't absorb this stuff so fast. Yeah.
exactly. So with that, I saw the time right now. We're going to go ahead and go off Facebook Live into our private Zoom session. So if you guys have any questions, thank you for whoever's watching on live. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to join us via Zoom. If you have any questions, the link is right in the comments below. Thank you again.
Bye. Thank you.